right. Hello, everybody who is watching us or are going to watch us in the future. This is a one-off broadcast at the Wikipedia Weekly Network. It's just one idea I had, and Andrew is joining me. And I think that we're going to have some interesting interaction here where you're going to ask me what I'm doing, and I'm going to try to tell people what in the world am I doing.
Yeah, I'll serve the role of interviewer because I really have no idea what Jan's going to show, but I'm sure it's going to be cool. So
yeah, so this idea came up I discovered a workflow, and it wasn't like I was searching for it. It's just I noticed that, hey, I do this thing, and then I do this thing, and I do this thing, and there are different tools that are not obvious that they have synergies. So I thought, hey, more people might find this useful, and especially since it's a thing you can do in your house without leaving it while still doing maps related stuff. So
right.
For all the people who has this maps abstinence, you can still do something. And I'm going to bring up my screen here so we can see. So they all started with a tool from the famous Magnus Manske, of course. I think everything starts with a tool from Magnus Manske. And this one is the one that is called WikiShootMe. And what it does, and what you can see here in the screen, it's a map in the background. And then we have dots on different colors. And every dot is something that is on Wikidata. And if the dot is red, it doesn't have an image. And if it's green, it already has an image. And then there's, well, everything is not on Wikidata. Then there also are the blue dots, which are images on Commons with coordinates. And then there are somewhere also yellow dots, which is also Wikidata objects, items with Wikipedia articles. And this is in Amsterdam, and I'm gonna zoom in on a neighborhood that I'm working on that I know a little bit better than others because I live very close by to it. So I'm trying to make, of course, my neighborhood green because that's how you like it. And there's some red dots still missing here. So, and of course, these are items, and I can click on one of these so you can see, and perhaps I need to zoom in here so you actually do see anything. See how that will work. It seems to work, so I just need to pan a little bit here. So you get a little, you get this little pop-up, which has a title, Wicherstraat, I guess it is, street in Amsterdam, the Netherlands, Q196523887. So this you can use when you're out walking, and you can upload image, and it actually goes to your image folder on your phone, and you can upload, or you can, in some phones, you can even take a new image depending on your phone, which is pretty cool. But now I'm sitting here inside and not walking outside, especially not today, because today is actually raining here, so I would have been sitting inside anyway. And this cross connects with another quite cool thing, which is called Mapillary. Have you heard of Mapillary, Andrew?
I have. I've never used it, but I know of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's another app that is, or initiative. It's not a Wikimedia initiative. It's actually a for-profit company. But the interesting thing they do is that all the images uploaded to this is CC by SA. And they've been to Wikimania a couple of times, and sometimes it was even connected, so you could do a one-click in this interface to get it to Commons, to share it. So what I've been doing here, this was earlier, and other people has as well, and I think even Amsterdam City has, municipality of Amsterdam has been involved here in doing mass uploads, is that you take an image and it has a coordinate, and of course it shows up on the map, and I'm going to bring this one up. So this is the street, and this one could very well be like a good image for that item on Wikidata. So there's some very nice things to help you do this. And sometimes it's a little bit tricky to find them the first time. So in the right-hand panel here, you have a share button, and it has the same share icons most sites have. And here's this nice little URL for this image, and I'm just going to copy it and go to the tool Mapillary2Commons.
Oh, nice.
Which makes this just a cut and paste. So I'm just going to drop here the URL for that. It's going to do a lookup. And it's going to ask me what file name should this have, and it should not have this file name because this was another street. So I'm just going to copy the Wicherstraat. And it's going to add some sort of extra slug here to make it unique. And I already authorized this tool, so it's just going to start an upload immediately.
So it's just kind of a layer above URL to Commons, right?
Yes.
One layer above.
Yeah. So it maps the metadata from Mapillary to URL to Commons and just uses that tool.
Nice.
So now it's already on Commons. So there are a few things you usually need to do after this, especially assigning categories, because it doesn't try to figure that out.
And Mapillary, it brings in the right licensing information and everything from Mapillary?
Yep. Yes, and links back everything, and it also grabs the author. Now it happens to be me for this one, but it could be some other Mapillary user who's getting their attribution correctly.
Nice.
So and it brings in the camera location as well. So yes. So that's quite nice. So I'm going to add some categories here because that's useful for other people to actually find this image. And we'll try if Wicherstraat. No. So there's a lot of categories for streets in Amsterdam, but not all these small ones. It's mostly in the within the ring. This is going to get the streets in Amsterdam. What else can we give it? We can give it.
Add some more categories there. And I guess for viewers out there, we're used to seeing, I mean, Google's the most popular, but Google, we don't have the rights to bring any of those images into Commons. So Mapillary seems like the next best thing. It's a nice balance of having high quality images and having the license information. Right?
Yes. So we're going to see soon some really high quality. This one was not a high quality image. It was just my phone that I actually biked around and having it on a. so it's a decent quality, but it's not a high quality. And here is an interesting thing. Like, how do you think? I'm going to zoom in more as well, because I think this is could be a very own topic for a show, thinking about categories on Commons. So I'm added streets in Amsterdam. That's like the main category. And then, of course, we can have these sort of meta categories. April 2020 in the Netherlands. I guess this one is actually from April. So this one could go for the empty streets during the COVID, but not in Bilog, but in. No, that's not the same. There was another one in closures. There, in the Netherlands. That's also useful. And then you can always go with some more meta categories, like it should be able to extract this from the metadata from the actual file, the EXIF, but there's no bot going around to do anything. So I'm adding, taken with Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge. It's a category, so you can find, and then just for keeping track of my own images, I'll add this because it was actually me taking this image. And what else? No, I think that's pretty good. So I'm going to save this one. And then, of course, nowadays we sort of double store things because we also have the structured data. So I'm going to add some of these into the structured data. But I guess mostly I will add the depicts there. Oh, captions. We need to add captions because this tool was created before captions.
Right.
So we're going to add a scene from the east side.
So I guess a nice optimization for the future would be if we could bring in more metadata in from the Mapillary side and immediately put it into some usable form, whether it's for structured data on Commons or categories in some way. It's not the easiest thing to do, but
no,
it would be nice.
Yes. So I guess the tricky part there is to know what it is actually connected to, because you could have things that are, or roads that are close to each other, and the tracks that are in Mapillary, I don't think there are tagged like connected to an OpenStreetMap item or something like that. They might be, I don't know. Adding this in 2 languages and do publish, and then we're going to go to the structured data as well here, and it depicts Wichters. Oh, did I misspell it? Wicher, no T. Oh, that's very strange. Didn't find it, but it has an object, an item. So we'll go and just drop the Q number to see what it says. It might not have a label in English. Ah, there we go. And yes, very prominent. So that's more or less half of the work, because now we've done the common side. And now this is also very nice from the WikiShootMe. You have the link directly to the Wikidata item. So when we can see here that it didn't have an image, I'm going to change this first to English. It will be easier for all of you non-Swedish speakers, which I guess is the most of the watchers. We do have some comments here. I didn't see. All right, yes. And zoom it in a little bit. I'm zooming in the wrong window. That doesn't help. So we'll zoom here instead. Yes.
Yeah, that's better.
That's better. So I'm going to say this has the same name in Swedish. Of course, there's always these rabbit holes you go here to just add the image, but of course you have to fix everything else you see are not perfect. And image. And I'm going to grab the file name from here, because this is not something you can easily just remember and move. And hopefully it finds it. Yes. All right. Why does it has some potential? What? I've never seen this. Didn't I use P18? I did. Very well.
We have some questions. I wonder which city has the most streets on Wikidata.
Yes. So I know there's been an import of streets in Amsterdam. So they might be in the top. But I also know that, and I talked with Alicia about that. I think it was on our last Wikidata. We usually have Swedish Wikidata meetups online on Sundays. And we talked about how many streets there are in Gothenburg. I think there's over 800 of them. So that's quite a lot.
Yeah. I would think it would have to be one of the more older cities, like, even like big cities like New York City actually don't have that many streets. Technically, they're just really long ones. So yes. I think the older ones with lots of windy ones are much more likely. Yeah.
But of course,
other comments here. Go ahead.
Yes. Descriptions could be added automatically in batch afterwards. Yes, possibly.
That's true. You could do a second scrape of the mapillary content and then add them as QS or quick statements later on, I suppose.
Yes, that could possibly be done.
Yeah,
that will be the topic for another show. Yes.
Yeah.
All streets in the Netherlands. All right, that's
wow. Okay, that would be the benefits of a small country. Is you can add all the streets.
Yeah. But then, of course, we had this interesting thing here. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so you can see here. You see there are different kinds of dots.
Oh, yeah.
So we have the ones that I've been taking, and then we have these with circles. And if we click on one of those and bring these up, if my computer will let me do it, and I'll go to the image view. So here I can actually pan. So here's the official Amsterdam municipality street view car. So they've been donating all these images to Mapillary in automated upload.
Nice.
And of course, then we can use these as well because they're also CC BY. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to just go for the to the share button and grab copy the URL here. I'm going to go back to the Mapillary2Commons tool and just paste it. And do the same thing, and it grabs it, and I'm going to just call this 360.
Ah, nice.
And it starts an upload. And there the upload is done. And then we're going to go back in here, and we can see that it actually attributed Amsterdam.
And then now you can add this as the photosphere image to the Wikidata item.
Exactly.
So and this can be confusing for a lot of folks because we actually have a property for photosphere image and panoramic image, and they're different things, right?
Yes.
And I need to use like more than half my brain power when I'm editing to remember which one is which. So I think photosphere means you get 360. A pano could be just really wide, but not 360, right?
Yeah.
Very cool. So that's neat. I don't think I've ever done a URL to Commons of 360 images before. That's pretty cool.
And they're actually just stored as flat images, so it just works. Oh yes, I just did that. So let's do let's add one more here. I'm gonna do August 2016 in the Netherlands as well. So we have some more here. Gonna go for this. Whoop.
While you do that, we have a note here. Apparently, Prague with 7,053 streets is the largest one in Wikidata.
So someone is
Pretty cool.
helping us out here with queries as we go along, answering the questions that only Wikidata can answer.
Yes. Thanks, Nicholas. And this is just a weird quirk, but we're in a really nice zone for w.wiki shortcuts. It's like NDP all caps. Like we're in a really nice looking URL phase right now.
Yes.
So make your shortcuts now if you want.
I have this weird little, I'm not sure if you can call it a habit or addiction. So when I see these, I try to find objects that I want to actually get to. And the one I'm most proud of so far is in all capital letters, BEN. Can you just guess where that goes?
Denmark?
B.
Oh, B.
Yes.
BEN. It goes to, Big Ben, the clock.
Yes. And since it's capital, it's big. Big Ben.
So you just waited until you could get that.
No, it was actually a coincidence. So I was doing something else. I was doing a Wikidata query, and hey, we're at Beth. That's or something like that. Yeah. And the other day I made, of course, we were at MT something. So I found MTG because I'm also a player of Magic the Gathering. So that they now have a very nice short URL.
Yeah, is anyone watching in the comment section? Let us know if you've ever tried to hack the shortening system or if you had any favorites. I'm just really lucky when I was making shortcuts for some of my demos. It happened to be like in the B's, like all caps in the B's. And I made tons and tons and tons of them, so they're easy to remember now. Yeah.
All right, so I'm happy with the upload of this. So I'm going to copy the file name, go back to the Wikidata item, and now I'm going to add a new statement here. And this what we were talking about, and this is called photosphere,
I think it is.
Yes, photosphere image.
Very cool.
And it's just going to show up there. We do have a couple of different image properties on Wikidata. One of my favorite one, which we're not going to use here, but that's the nighttime view. I think that's a nice one.
Nighttime view. I've never used that before. Interesting.
Yeah. So sometimes in Commons for these tourist attractions, you find people taking them in nighttime views as well. So
was that controversial when it was proposed as a property, or not really?
I don't know. I wasn't part of that discussion. Perhaps someone in the chat knows that better. So that was the workflow that I've been doing and discovering. So I'm using the WikiShootMe, going to Mapillary, trying to find an image, and then using Mapillary2Commons to upload, and then some polishing in Commons and adding them to Wikidata. So that was what I'm going to show. That was my show and tell. Did I not save this? Wait.
Yeah, and if people watching, you put in the comments whether you've used a workflow like this before, or whether you have any, this is a good one. Do you have any recommendations on other things we could be doing with this, or any other parts of the workflow, or maybe extending the workflow? And I guess one of the tough things about our community is awesome, great workflow. Now, how do people learn about it, right? How do we document it? And there's really no great way of doing that, unfortunately, right? There was these one-off demos of like the tools that we have. We don't really have a great way of stringing them together and then making that a repeatable learning pattern for folks.
No. So this was my starting thing. Like, hey, I found this. Let's first see if other people find it useful. Let's try to show it off to people, and then perhaps we need to document in some way.
Right.
It seems to be some lagging here because usually no. Wait. Let's see. I missed a step here in the.
Oh, is that right?
So we're going to do my workflow. I was distracted by myself here. So we're going to do my workflow again. We're going to take this next street here. So this is Buoyspot, and we're going to go down to Mapillary to see if there's any good images. Oh no. Oh no. That was Buoyspot. I was working on the wrong image here. Now we have to fix everything.
Okay. Sorry, I probably distracted you when you were.
No, that was totally my problem. So I think I'm going to do that quite quickly here then. So I'm going to
go ahead.
Commons.
Go ahead and fix that while I bring up Alicia's comment here. Alicia says, I've actually used WikiShootMe to plan my vacation. No point traveling to places that are already well covered on Commons. That is
yes,
that's the true Wikimedian.
All right. This one so we're going to actually move and replace this one because this is a misleading name. This is not the Wikipedia. And why misleading name? So just move that. Fortunately, I am a file mover on Commons, and then we're going to need to fix some of the descriptions here as well then. So this does not depict Wikistrat. So we're going to remove it and go with Buoyspot instead.
Nicholas says, same with Nicholas, best vacation planner ever. I'm not sure I can say I ever planned my entire vacation around WikiShootMe, but I have planned outings while traveling or in my local area based on, hey, there's a lot of images that need to be taken of this area here. So I actually have gone out of my way to take photos with them. That's good.
So that's one image fixed. And then we'll go for the other image here. What? Something happened. There we go. So it's going to be the same street.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to go back to Wikidata as well. First, just remove the statements from the Wikistrat. Mark as prominent. And one more thing to do. So I think this is a little bit, since they added the structured data, they removed one of the edit buttons that was just above the info box. So now you have go all the way back up here to edit. If someone knows a better way to do it, please tell me in the chat, because I think this is a downgrade in the interface.
What happened? You have to describe the problem again?
Yes, so I'll go back here and show you. So before the structured data,
Mm-hmm.
there used to be an edit button just here above the info
Right.
box.
Oh, interesting.
And this one disappeared. And I don't think this one only edits the structured data, the
Right.
captions.
Right.
So now I have to edit this street name. I have to go all the way back up here.
Oh, interesting. I have to imagine it was an inadvertent quashing of that edit button, but yeah,
Yes.
that would be a great feature request to make.
Bring that button back campaign.
Right. It's like the Commons structured data on Commons box squashed it, and we can't edit below that. I mean, are all the edit buttons below that gone, or just the one immediately beyond the structured data on Commons
I
box?
think it's just the one immediately beyond, because, well,
Uh-huh.
there are no
there's
other
nothing else.
sections.
No.
But
Oh, that's
I
bad
think
then.
if you add another licensing section beneath this, it will show up. So it's just that one that gets squashed.
Oh, that's bad. Yeah. Well, maybe someone listening can file a Fabricator report while we're doing this.
Wait, this
Add
one.
edit button back just below the structured data on Commons interface.
Yes. Well, now I can actually show off the thing that I was going to show off when I found what I did wrong. So after the image is uploaded, you can also just go to the WikiShootMe, paste the file name here, add to item. The WikiShootMe will, of course, do the edit on Wikidata for me. And if I do that, I think it'll turn it to green and also show it here.
Right.
But I also need to go to this one and remove things I did add, because that was wrong. So we're going to Wikidata still being slow. I don't think I have that many gadgets. Here we go, edit, remove. And we're going to go to the photosphere because this is not there either, but I'm going to copy this one and then remove it from here. We might go back there later, but for now we're going to go into the WuSpad and add the photosphere image. There we go. All right. Let's do the next one correctly from the beginning. There's something strange with the coloring here because now it turned red again. But let's go to the visiting strat here. So the workflow I used was, after I found a red dot in the WikiShootMe tool, I go to Mapillary, to the same area. I'm trying to find a decent track. And here I know that some of the tracks are not very good because I am guilty of doing them badly. But I think one of the later ones is actually decent. So I think this is one that is good. And if my clicking works, yes. So I'm going to bring this one up in larger view. And I guess you can also have a philosophy on what kind of images do you want for a street for Wikidata. I find, personally, I think that if you have it from the end of the street so you can almost see the entire street, I think that's a good choice. So here I'm going to back up a little bit and hope that we have some sharp and straight, that I was on top of my game here.
And were you stopping every once in a while, or you have an automatic picture taking at every several seconds or something like that?
So the app actually does it for me. So when you're in the Mapillary app, you just press on once, and it will. You can do a couple of different settings in it, but if you just let it go on auto, it will take an image every 5 meters or something. So if you're standing in the same place, it will not take new images.
Nice.
And then it will take, but it will also do it so it doesn't overheat your camera. so because if you're going too quickly in a car, 5 meters is a very short time.
Right.
So
that's a really clever tool that we don't have anything like, right? We don't have anything that does that.
Yeah. And that's why it's so great that the images are CC by SA, so we can actually use them. So, of course, while using that, I'm sort of helping them in their for-profit business, but I'm also helping myself taking good images for Commons. So, so to speak, I'm a freeloader of their tool. Just as much. So I'm donating a bunch of image data, of course, but yes.
Right. But it's symbiotic, hopefully.
Yes, and they're very nice. And the people there have been to Wikimania a couple of times, and they've been collaborating with Wikimedia Sweden because it's a Swedish company. So yeah. So I'm going to grab this one. I think this is almost in the end of the street. It's a nice one. I'll copy the URL here, and then I'll need to find my way back to, and all these links are in the description of the show, so you can find the Mapillary2Commons link there. And to use it, if you haven't already authorized it with the OAuth thing, you will need to do that first, otherwise it will just give you an error. So I've already done that. So look this one up. This is not the Wicherstraat. I know that now. So this is the Wissingerstraat. Probably butchering the pronunciation. I've been here in the Amsterdam for 8 months now, and I haven't learned much of the language.
Right.
Unfortunately, in my workplace, we have English as first language. And we are all international there. So upload, very easy. Again, that's the beauty of the tool. It's already uploaded here. We're going to add some more structured information. This is the Wissingerstraat from the south. I'm always struggling in coming up with good description file on the files. Sometimes they're obvious, but usually I find it quite hard to be creative but still succinct. Let's see if we can find the item easily. There's yes, so this one is the one in Amsterdam. It's going to be prominent. What do you think about this prominent thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I it's kind of, for me, it's kind of like the is your edit major or minor? Like I just wind up not using it unless I really find a good reason to. So I think I do most of my stuff here with depiction information. So I'll sometimes use it, but I normally don't.
Yeah. It makes sense for depicts, but if you're adding other structured data, prominent doesn't make sense, because what it actually means is that in the wiki base, like in Wikidata, that's the preferred rank.
Right.
So when they made the structured data here, they switched names for it, thinking obviously that it's going to mainly be used for depicts, and then prominent is better than preferred, I guess.
Right.
But I'm as a being used to the regular Wikidata nomenclature or the names, I'm getting a little bit confused now and then with this.
Right. We have so many terms we need to map over to the non-Wikidata contexts, right?
Yep. And then, of course, here in the bottom, I'm so thankful for the hotcat, because it makes life easier. And now I'm adding several images. I use the plus in the left hand because otherwise it saves for each. So now you can actually add a number of categories in the same edit, which saves you a bit of time. Instead of reloading here, I can just go in and...
Right. And for folks who don't have this enabled, you can enable it in your preferences to add hot cat, which I wish was default, because I think it's pretty much the only reasonable way to add categories on Commons.
Why didn't...
Now it's interesting. Oh, no.
There it is.
Now it's interesting. Looking at some Commons files, that edit button is gone. Like the ones I just looked at the image you uploaded, and you're right, the edit button is gone right below the structured data. But then other files, it's there. So maybe it's got something to do with the templating, but I'm not sure.
And Niklas says it doesn't have that problem, so it might be some of my gadgets messing it up then.
I don't think so. I'm looking at the upload that you just did, and it is missing for me. But if I look at an upload I did like a few weeks ago, it still has the edit button for my uploads, but I don't think it's specific to me. It's just the format of what the template is or something. But it's interesting. It's not universal. May have to look into that.
It's very strange. This is 2020.
We have another person who does think that hot cat should be active by default.
Yes.
We have a very very conservative community of folks when it comes to what should the default user experience be. It is certainly what we would say inertia, very hard to move the defaults. So we just wind up giving people very vanilla, very low-end experience.
Yes. And here, of course, we see one of the downsides with I'm conflicting myself of this because we have different granularity.
Right.
So I added both 2020 in Amsterdam and April 2020 in the Netherlands. Like,
Right.
preferably would just be in one of those.
Right.
Oh, yes. And of course, yes, it's not default. And you try to help someone. Click the plus. Yes.
But yeah, John, you're right. I just wind up doing something that would drive a lot of folks crazy. I just kind of slap in a very flat hierarchy. Just what would people reasonably look for? Blah, 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 even if it's redundant. Yeah.
Well, do I get an edit conflict on this one?
Oh.
Is someone helping us out? I'm just going to press publish. Let's see who the guilty one is. Oh, it's just me.
I think it's just some quirk with Hotcat, maybe.
Yes, perhaps. So I'm going to grab this file name. I'm going to go back to the WikiShootMe tool and now paste the file name here and let it do the edit on Wikidata for me. Will it? I'm clicking add. All right, there we go.
Just a little bit slow. Time?
Yes. And then I'll go into that item. Well, first we're going to go back to this one. We're going to see if we can find, and then of course we were talking about which kind of view you want to do, and I said, well, take one in the end of it, but of course when you have the 360, you want something in the middle instead,
right?
Because you're getting views from all different areas, and I think here I'm actually going to take it. I guess here is a good one because it's like a small. Yeah, I'm going to show you here. On this side, you have this little open for two of the streets, so you see all the connections. So that's going to be a good representation of this street in the photosphere. So we just grab that one. We're going back here again to the Mapillary2Commons tool. Paste it up. See it, yes, that's the image that I want. I want to add 360 to this one. And it starts an upload. Upload
Nice.
is done. I'm going to go in here and, oh, I remembered I forgot something else before. So we have more cleanup to do. Good. Always good to do errors when being on air. So we'll go first, start with the structured data. This was the missing error. No. Isering. I don't even know the street I'm going on every day. I could claim I haven't gone on it for a month now because we're mostly in our house. Yes, that's good. And we'll add some nice things here as well. Have you heard any plans for making these captions available on Wikipedia, like as a client to Commons? Because it seems like an obvious use case.
Yeah, I've been filling in the captions dutifully, not knowing how they're going to be used at all.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm just repeating stuff, but I'm just like, you asked me for it, I'll put it in there, but I don't know what the use case is exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I'm like, I have the same question of like, what is the end game for the captions there?
So I would like a feature in when I'm adding a file on, especially in Visual Editor, you would get a suggestion. Hey, there's a caption on this in your language. Does it make sense to use it here in the place that you do? Using it in this article? And if it does, it should just display it. Not even write it in locally, but just display it like as we can do with data from Wikidata.
Right.
That would be very nice. Do we have any interesting comments there? Let's see. No, this was not new, right? So I'll publish this. And I'm going to go down here and add some categories. I remembered I didn't check if this one had. No, it didn't. So this is just going to get the streets. Amsterdam. And when was this? This was, if you want to check, if you're doing this, you can check in the bottom right. It's very small, but it says the date and time of the image. So I can actually say here, this is August 2016 in the Netherlands. And I'm actually going to go and do the 2016 in Amsterdam as well. Doing this doubly. And what I forgot on the previous 360 image, I get this warning again.
Weird.
Is it because I'm not reloading between doing the structured data? I don't know. Well, anyway, the thing I wanted to add here, I'm going to add a template that gives a better viewer if you look at this photosphere on Commons. And that template is called Pano 360.
Right.
I'll take you to a tool on Labs, WMF Labs. So I'm going to set that in the same. Unfortunately, though, right now, it seems like the link the template generates from here on Commons is broken.
What?
Was it?
Really?
Yes. So some sort of database error in the bottom right here.
Oh, that's not good.
And the strange thing is that if you go to Swedish Wikipedia, I made a similar template that it is in use. So if you go and that link actually loads. So the tool isn't broken. So it's just the link that got broken in Commons. So I haven't figured out what is actually wrong, but possibly you could just check the link from Swedish Wikipedia and see why that works and why the one on Commons doesn't. I haven't gotten around to it, and I'm not that technical. But maybe I am, since I managed to do the template in Swedish Wikipedia.
Well, I think I remember when that Pano 360 template was implemented. It was at a hackathon, wasn't it, in Vienna? Was it around that time? Or
sounds about right. I think it's user Dishwan that.
Correct. That's right.
No. Wait, what? It said it twice there? all sorts of errors.
Yeah, I remember when Dishwan showed it and like, oh, this is great. And then it really hasn't progressed beyond that, right? It would have been nice to integrate that in some ways in Wikipedia pages or in other tools, but it really hasn't been done much.
Oh, I guess I clicked the button in WikiShootMe a couple of times. So it actually added it a couple of times. Here it looks like I did it 3 times even.
Wow.
But
yeah, interesting.
We're finding all sorts of errors here. I'm just going to remove one of these. So this is also one of the, I think, one of the nicer parts of our wikis in general. Like you can do an error, but it isn't like you blew up everything. It's just, okay, I have to fix it. It's wrong. It's not a big deal. There's more edit buttons. I can make it right again. Of course, you can create a lot of work for yourself if you keep doing stuff wrong, but.
Right.
Right, and then there's a photosphere image here as well. I would love to see someone actually implement a good use of this. I haven't really figured out what it could be yet.
Yeah, I remember doing a Sparkle query at one point saying how many items in Wikidata have a photosphere image, and it wasn't a lot. It was less than 1,000.
Yes,
probably, it's not surprising because most people don't even know it exists as a property, and then it's a very specialized kind of thing.
Yes,
but I was hoping that we could do more auto connection of that.
Yeah, it would be interesting to. Well, I guess thanks to the Pano 360 template, we can actually find all the images on Commons.
That's true.
And also, if they have camera location, well, that's something together.
Right.
And I'm going to go back to the WikiShootMe tool and see if, yes, they turn green. Woohoo!
Oh, nice.
But this one is red again. Why? I'm going to reload it to see what's happening. Oh, no, it's red. Oh, I guess there's some lag somewhere.
Yeah, I can imagine there is.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that was more or less what I'm was trying to show. The workflow from Magnus Manske tool, WikiShootMe, and with the help of the red things, see where things are missing, going to the Mapillary map, and if you, I'm going to zoom out in this one, you can see now we're very close here in Amsterdam. It takes some time. But this, of course, covers the entire world. So you can do this in places that you do know, you can do it in places that you don't know, and just go explore and see stuff. Here's the, I guess this is the greater Amsterdam area. So you could go out to even out to the coast and to the beaches or something like that. And then when you actually do find an image, use the share link in the right-hand corner to go into the Mapillary2Commons tool, which makes it so easy just to move it. And then there's some manual labor to polish it on the actual file page and connect it to the Wikidata item. So yes, that's the workflow I was trying to show off today.
Neat. Well, I think what I will try to do is use that, well, inspect my neighborhood and see if I can use their app to try that, every 5 meter photography. That's pretty cool. That I've been looking. I mean, so the problem I think is that the best known tools are Google tools for doing these types of things. I've always felt it was always a problem because I've contributed stuff to Google, but I also have to kind of keep a copy on the side for myself so I can upload to Commons if I get around to it, but I usually don't, and it's sitting on some place that could be uploaded at some point. So it is kind of nice to have something like Mapillary where you upload it straight to Mapillary, but you have the permission right away to just ingest it into Commons, which is a really nice thing to have.
Yes, and it also adds a tracking category, so you can see all the images coming from the Mapillary in there. So that's also nice to see other people uploading things through this tool. Yes.
And you know what? Maybe because it's so European and Swedish centric, almost all the areas around where I live have no Mapillary information.
Oh, all right. Yes.
So you know what? I'm sheltering at home with the kids, and what I'm going to do is have the kids walk around with their phone and map the neighborhoods and everything. Hopefully, we'll see that fill in. Maybe we'll do another episode once we filled in more, and it's a nice thing. I mean, hey, we've kind of thrown all the lesson plans out the window for the kids at this point, so might as well do outdoorsy cool stuff instead.
Yes. So. And I can really recommend just walking, because walking is also it's a nice pace, and then you will actually let them take the photos in their optimal settings, because you're not going too quick. Like if you're going in a car, you're going quicker than your phone actually can handle it. Right. So, and you're going to get a dense, nice network of images, and that will make it easier for you later to find a good image to upload to Commons as well. So that's a nice thing. Like if you go around your street in your neighborhood, perhaps you upload actually to Mapillary2Commons 200 images.
Right.
And we don't not Mapillary2Commons to Mapillary. We don't want all those 200 images in Commons. So then afterwards you can just sit quietly and at peace in front of the computer and like, all right, which one do we want? And pick only the best parts, and
right.
And yes.
No, go ahead.
You were going to ask?
No, I was thinking that it might be useful to show folks the subtool of WikiShootMe that we were talking about the other day, which is the picture this tool, which might be useful if folks are on mobile and doing their original stuff. So I have it loaded on my mobile. I can kind of, why don't you bring it up first just to show what it looks like on desktop, and I can show what it looks like on mobile.
So I couldn't find a link here, but you just write picture this, and I already had this. So picture this, and it will bring you up to an interface where you can, use your current location instead, finding nearby.
There are some missing images for things nearby. Yeah. Where does it think you are?
Yes. I don't know. So that's very interesting.
The right place or not really?
Yeah, it's a couple of 100 meters south of
Okay.
what I would expect. Like Jan van Galenstraat is Jan van Galenbrug is just 50 meters from the one of the images I uploaded, but it's
Ah,
still like 200 meters from where I am.
it's probably just using very coarse IP geolocation content. Yeah.
Probably, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about this tool is it is like an alternative interface to WikiShootMe. And what's nice is that if you can see the little camera icon with the green arrow,
Mm-hmm.
it says, there's no image for this thing. Can you upload it? And the cool thing is that this is I think the easiest tool for one-click upload to Commons and linking to Wikidata in one shot, which is really nice. So this tool is not that well known because, as you said, it's not really linked to by anywhere, but it's kind of a
Mm-hmm.
sub tool of WikiShootMe. And where it really shines is on mobile. And I think I can show you this thing. So this is my iPhone right now, hopefully. If I show you on Chrome here. So this is that same tool, the URL.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to install an app. It's just a web address, right?
Yep.
So if I click on use my location instead, this is using much more fine-grained location information off the mobile. Now, unfortunately, both of the parks near me, I've already taken pictures of and uploaded those things.
Yes.
But I just created this. This is a park nearby, and I just realized Watts Branch Park. This is a park off of a creek. So you can see here, there's Watts Branch Park, which is near me. And the cool thing is if I click on the camera icon there, I can go to my photo library, and I took a picture of this the other day. So this is that picture of, and I can actually choose the image size if I want. I'll just use the large size. Yeah. And then hit done. So what it's doing is in one shot, it's uploading to Commons and then linking the Wikidata item for Watts Branch Park to that Commons image.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is really powerful. In fact, I've even had my kids do this so that we were walking around downtown DC and we said, oh, that building doesn't have an image in Wikidata. We use this tool and they take the picture with one click. And that's pretty cool that an 8-year-old can upload an image to Commons and interlink it to Wikidata with just clicking a button and doing that.
And what's so great with this tool is since it's actually a web page, you can use it whatever phone you have.
Right.
Because otherwise you can do the same thing in the official Commons app, but that's only for Android, I think.
Right.
So that's a little bit more restricted. Although they have some other filtering mechanisms. Because in this, I guess you can find Wikidata items that actually don't exist anymore, buildings that have been torn down.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas they have a filter if it has an end date in the Commons app. It's removed.
Now, yes, I have run into this bug where it may not completely... Oh, there it is. So there it is now. I may have to rotate that in Commons, but I don't know why it's sideways like that. But you can see it's there already. And it's in Wikidata as well. I'll have to rotate that. But that's pretty nice.
It is.
And we've done this at our conferences before where we have like a walkabout, like a photo walk. And people who don't have to be great photographers can just use this tool to do one-click uploading of stuff. Yeah.
Yes. And I find that I like the photo hunts, the photo safaris, the photo walkabouts as a concept because it brings people together in a very not in front of your computer kind of way.
Right.
And you actually go out and do something and you hunt down the images that are missing on Commons, like you're really on a quest, which is super like motivating for people. And it's also very easy. And if you have this quick, like, oh, and we also uploaded it even before we go to the next thing that we're going to take photos of. Otherwise, you go home and you have like 800 images and like, oh no, this is going to take an eternity. Like the backlogs we have on our hard drives for everything. Yeah.
Like, what's the drop off in terms of I took a photo in the field and now when I get home I'm going to upload it to Commons? There's a drop off like 80-90% at that point, right? How many people remember to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and another nice thing about doing this off the mobile in a photo walk is you remove most of the copyright issues at that point, right? Unless you're taking pictures of public art where there's copyright issues. But if you're just doing whether you're in a place with freedom of panorama or just taking pictures of nature and buildings, you don't have to deal with all this, what are the rights and is it CC BY, is it CC 0? It's just, no, you took the picture. It's your creation. You've released those rights.
Yeah. Yes. And now I didn't see how obvious it was in the picture this tool, but actually in the Commons app, you can also from a dropdown specify which actual license I want to use.
Oh, that's nice. This one is pretty simple in that there is no real option for that. It's really just a one-click interface. Yeah.
So do you know which one you released it under?
I will find out right now.
Yes.
CC BY SA. Yeah.
All right. So pretty default.
Yeah. It's a decent default.
It's a decent default, yes. Okay. All right. I think we're pretty done with this show and tell for today. Thank you, Andrew, for helping me out and asking the questions where I was not really clear on what I was doing.
No, it was great. And we hope to do more of these types of shows. Just show me your workflow, show me something interesting. And for the folks watching or tell other folks, we welcome that. Come tell us how we can show cool things that you're doing, whether it's Commons, Wikidata, Wikipedia. More of these things are better to spread the knowledge. As we said, there's no great way of documenting best practices and patterns like this. There are places, but they're just scattered all over the place. So anything that we can do to try to do that would be great. And Larissa, hi Larissa. Thanks for sending us a nice feedback on that.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So we'll see folks next time, and send us your show ideas and your different, I guess, the different guests that you might want on here. We do have a shortcut now, I think, on Meta. So if you go to meta.wikimedia.org/WWNI, and that means it's Wikipedia Weekly Network Ideas. Is that what it is? Let me just make sure.
That's what it is.
Yes. So maybe we can show that.
Yeah.
So if we share this, there we go. If we see that, that is the page, Wikipedia Weekly Network Ideas. It is WWNI as a shortcut on Meta. Please do add your ideas here. We've got things related to events. So if Earth Day, we have a whole bunch of stuff that people are doing for Earth Day on April 22nd. So we've more than enough to do some type of programming that day. But if you have more content, let us know. We have, I think right now, Boston, New York, a few other places around the world doing something that day. There was interest from folks in South America as well. Wikimedia Hackathon is looking for a way to be virtual in some way. Wikimania as well. We still haven't figured out whether we're going to be doing something in August for a Wikimania alternative. Some topics that we talked about recently are tabular data. What is the status of it? How might we use it more effectively? Wikidata scalability issues, branding, alternatives to Wikipedia's COVID content. What are some of our Wikimedians doing outside of the Wiki sphere? We've talked to Emily Temple Wood about that already, about her newsletter. Best practices for tools or tools for mobile users. And then at one point, we experimented with Mozilla Hubs. If you haven't seen this is kind of like a 3D world, Second Life type of clone, which I think is really interesting. There might be some interesting applications for our community if we're like trying to curate some kind of collection of images or video. And then we're always looking for ideas for interviews with folks. Some other deeper topics might be things like knowledge graphs for Wikidata, or SHEX, which is shape expressions. I think in one episode, Jan, we did talk a little bit about shape expressions, although it's
we did a little bit, but I think we could do something both in both ends. Actually, I think we can go both deeper into it, but we could also do something more beginner friendly and perhaps start with Cradle.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's true. A whole episode just about how do we have different interfaces or ways to provide structure or shapes to
Yes.
the content in Wikidata. I don't want to say structure. We already use structured data. I like more shape of the data.
Yes. Yeah. Because with the power of the Wikidata, where the how we model stuff is not set in stone, which gives us tremendous flexibility. But with tremendous flexibility, it also sometimes becomes a bit confusing. Like, whoa, how do you want me to do this?
Right.
So, I could do it in any number of ways, but how are everybody else is modeling this kind of thing in the world?
Right. Sometimes you don't want a lump of clay that can become anything. You want Lego pieces that are pre-built, right? So that's something
That's a very good analogy.
Yeah, it's challenging in Wikidata sometimes for new folks. Like, what should I do? Anything you want. What should it look like? Anything you want. It's like, that doesn't help me. Yeah, exactly.
And I want to highlight with the ideas here that you're, of course, feel free to drop in any ideas that you would see us cover, but we also very much welcome if you want to show and tell something, or if you want to come on and talk or something like that. Please do add those as well. We call this Wikipedia Weekly Network just because we want this to be a network of people connecting and sharing this together with the wider community.
Right, absolutely. I mean, long term, we would love to just turn over parts of the channel over to other groups that have a track record and just let you run with it and say, the same way that I know the French community has done a lot of great things with Twitch. You're absolutely welcome to come on here and just do it in French language. We have Swedish language programming. We have some folks saying they're interested in Spanish language. Yes, absolutely. We want to be inclusive with this channel. So absolutely, we want that to happen.
And with that, I think that's a great note to sign off. Thank you, Andrew, for helping me out.
Yeah, it's been fun. Thanks a lot.